Welcome to my show. A guest here. His name is Herb Stevenson. Mr. Herb, how are you doing, sir?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
And also, thank you so much for the time and the opportunity. Firstly, you are an executive coach. You are
Yes,
also the founder of Cleveland Consulting Group. Can you
yes.
please, Mr. Herb, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mr. Herb?
Well, I've been doing executive coaching for about 40 years. Um, it wasn't called that back then. It was called management retainers. I worked with executive leadership to make them more effective. Um, Beyond that, I've been worked around the world, worked in the Middle East, South Africa, Europe, most of the U.S. Um, Enjoy what I do, so I'm not have no intentions of retiring. So, and beyond that, I three boys and six grandkids, four horses and four dogs.
Very much beautiful, Mr. Hab. And I'm so glad you're actually putting all the whole work till the time you actually leave the earth, actually not retiring and continue to give to the world and also making the world a better place as well. And I would also like to ask in regards to the experience you've had in recent years, Mr. Hab, if you've written any book or if you are planning to write any book in the coming future.
Well, I've written a couple of books on coaching. The most recent one is called Bear Attention, uh, Coaching at the Point of Contact, which is a lot about leadership presence. That's in process. That's already been published. Um, there's another book on coaching. It's more of a textbook. It's called Coaching Personal, Transpersonal, and uh, Liminal, which is like transformational. Um, I would show it to you, but I don't have them with me right here. But yes, I've written several books actually, and but the most recent ones is the that's getting the attention around the world is called Bear Attention: Coaching at the Point of Contact. It's for leaders, coaches, actually even therapists if they were interested in it. So, and it's about presence.
Very much
Correct.
beautiful in regards to everything you've actually built and also the book as well in point of leadership. We do understand leadership actually grows with qualities. There are certain qualities one needs to have when it comes to leadership, and to have some qualities when it comes to the experience and the book, and also what you've written actually add to the interest as well. Which is why I also like to drive to the point of recognition, because recognition plays a very huge role when it comes to leadership. How do you think, or how can executive recognize the personal belief, the emotional patterns, and the past experiences that may quietly be shaping the way they make decisions and relate to their teams, Mr. Hab?
That was quite a few things. Working with executive leadership, the critical piece is developing emotional maturity. Um, and a different way of saying that is having an adequate level of self-awareness about not only themselves but the impact they have on people. A lot of leaders are taught how to manage, which is another way of saying often how to um, increase performance, often um, forcefully, whether it be words or otherwise. So in today's environment, I'm watching a change of happening is the changes that are occurring is the younger leaders coming into being, not all, but quite a few, are much more interested in self-awareness, more interested in their impact, how to influence, and as a result, they're actually creating what I call followership. Now, followership has been around for a long time, but the way I define it is people want to follow you. And they want to follow you because you've treated them with respect. You've treated them compassionately. It's not saying that you lower the standards of performance, it's saying that you've increased the standards of human performance. And so there's a phrase that I use that I try to support leaders to really understand is if your primary process as an executive leader is to honor human dignity, you'll probably do quite well. If you're only interested in performance and the numbers and bonuses, then you might make a lot of money, but you're not going to end up being what I would call a good leader. Okay.
That is very much powerful, Mr. Hart. It shows that human dignity is one of the most powerful tools and also one of the most important attributes to leadership. We do understand leadership can actually have some certain emotions for us to do some certain things, build some followers and stuff like that. But we have to understand that human intelligence, that human emotions, that humanity that we actually need to build as leader so that we can be in the position whereby we become an attribute of a successful leader. Which is why I would also like to drive to some warning signs. Because as a leader, when they're actually in a certain situation, probably insecurities, unresolved emotions, there could be some warning signs that they can actually fall into the wrong path when it comes to decision making and other things as well. So, what do you think from from your experience are some of the warning signs that a leader, unresolved emotions, insecurities, or need for control are beginning to affect workplace culture and team performance, Mr. Harp?
Well, I think the biggest and simplest way to look at the difficulty that kind of captures what you said is if a leader functions from a place of reactivity instead of presence, which is presence is being consciously aware in the moment, being able to pause, reflect, and choose, recognizing that honoring human dignity is a critical part of this process, it changes everything. And most people are not taught to look at their reactivity; they're just taught to react. So if this feels similar to something else, I will do the same thing that I was successful before. I use the analogy of a square peg, round hole. So in a rush and out of reactivity, we might say this is similar to that, not exact. So we take the square peg and we pound it into the round hole and we knock the four corners off. So we've just lost part of whatever our capability was because we broke it off trying to solve another problem. We do that in just a variety of ways, and so the impact of it is we need to constantly, and I have had executives with this PRC, pause, reflect, and choose, on their desk as a constant reminder is if you react, you have a 50% chance you're going to have to clean up a mess. If you pause, reflect, and choose, you're probably going to get the best answer that can be course corrected as you go along. And in today's environment where everybody is running faster than they know how, um, somebody, typically it should be the leadership team, needs to slow down, look at what's best and how do we maximize our efficiency and our effectiveness instead of just get work done.
Which is very much beautiful, Mr. Hab. It shows that leadership attributes actually in a lot of things needs to be considered when it comes to our workplace and other things that can actually help us become a successful one and also build us to a better one as well. And also, Mr. Hab, I would just like to drive to the point of balance because as a leader, there are ways one can actually be able to balance a lot of things because there are a lot of personal situations, there are a lot of emotional situations and one has to actually lead in some certain areas that can actually make a good attribute as well. So, how do you think leaders can try their best to balance ambition and high standards with humility, empathy, and genuine concern for people affected by their decisions? Mr. Hub.
Well, there's a couple ways I can answer that. One of the ways to develop humility is I ask leaders to make eye contact, not glaring eye contact of piercing and trying to dominate, but soft eye contact. And the way I do that is a lot of executives struggle with their relationships with their family. So I say to practice, go home, and if you have a partner at home, make soft eye contact, which is basically just look in their eyes for about a minute. Do the same thing with children. And what will happen is if you have no relationship, one of the first things that'll happen is they'll ask you, what are you looking at? And your answer is, I'm looking at you and I don't do it enough. That's validating their existence. And then at the end of 30 days, what often happens, several of my clients have come back and said that their kids, especially regardless of the age, now when they come home, look to see if they're going to make eye contact in that way to validate each other's existence. So that's a very powerful process to teach us humility. For some CEOs and executives, that's too scary. They're not going to do that. But for the ones who literally don't want to lose their family, they will do it. Okay. And so it's been one of the most powerful things that I've taught people because we actually connect through the eyes. Everybody has a need to feel seen. So it doesn't really matter who you're with. Uh, Oftentimes when I'm out at a place and I have people who are providing some service to me, I will always make sure that I give soft eye contact to them, which surprises them. But they realize I want to see them and let them know I see them and appreciate whatever they're doing to provide service for me. And once you get to practicing it, it becomes much easier, and your whole leadership style becomes literally honoring human dignity in everything you do. The um, second thing about leadership, executive leadership, is they often don't understand there's three principles. Less is more, small is big. Uh, Less is more, small is big. And there's a third one I'll tell you in a minute. It doesn't come to me right now. But what they do is this, it teaches us the impact that an executive has on people. So the number of times I've had where the CEO says, well, I just I had an open thought. And 3 months later, I found out that they took that as a directive and they were out creating this whole thing. And I was just simply having a conversation about something for us to explore down the road, not to go do it. So the idea of throwing the snowball is that the snowball, as it goes down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's going all the way down the mountain at a very fast speed. And eventually when it gets down to the bottom, without that not being the intention of the CEO, it wipes the village out. Everything that he had built got wiped out. So it's a reminder is the power or the force behind a statement at the top level is critically important. The only way that that actually gets mitigated and turned into a success is always pause, reflect, and choose is what's the impact that I wish to have on this individual or this organization. And in doing that, be very eminently clear about what it is that you're trying to do. So that's why the phrase is small is fast, small is big, small is fast, small, no.
Okay.
Slow, that's where I write out. Slow is fast, small is big, and less is more. And the idea then is remembering if I go slow, I say less, and I use a small increments on what I'm trying to do, the likelihood of success being higher is greater. Um, some people say, well, I can't do that because I move too fast and everything moves too fast. And what I point out to them is I ask, how many times do you have to clean up a mess through misunderstanding? And the impact is they suddenly get it. And I say, so if you're having any kind of misunderstandings, which is obviously something very common at executive levels, these three principles will help them to recognize how do I slow this down, parcel it in amounts that could be digestible, and do it at a speed that they can use. So the power of the position often isn't understood. And another way of saying that is I watch this frequently. You know, I've been doing this. I'll be 75 soon. Um, we get too focused on the star, on the rising up, but not about how to rise up in a way that's going to not only support ourselves, but support the organization. So that's why when I'm working with people, I especially point out a couple of things that are really important. The most underutilized resource in any organization is peers. And there's a competition, so it creates a problem. Everybody wants to get the next position, and so we end up not collaborating. The organizations that build collaboration and the individuals themselves who build collaboration are the ones who build followers. So they succeed because when they get promoted, the people underneath them want them to succeed. They want to follow them. They want to follow them into the higher ranks. A lot of people don't really understand that, and I've watched executives be very heavy-handed and meet their performance goals and all sorts of things that allowed them to get big bonuses. Then when they get a promotion, they failed, and it was because no one wanted to work for them.
It's
So
very tough. It's very, as in, honestly speaking, Mr. Harp, it just brought out the light that leadership actually carries a lot of weight. And depending on the way we carry it as a point of leadership, is the way people are going to get attracted to it. And the way we also carry it also depend on the way people also get attached to it. That means people get away from it. So it depends on how we actually give a sense of humanity to people and how we actually carry people along and other areas like that, because that shows if people follow us or people do not. And I also love that perspective in the areas when we're actually having the discussion in regards to I and that, and how we can actually balance ambition and also humility as well in terms of empathy. I'm glad that you actually made the point of eye contact, because as humans actually we need the sense of emotions, we need the sense of deeper connections with ourselves, and actually having the sense of eye contact with a person and actually building that communication in regards to that eye contact actually plays a very huge and profound role. And from the bottom of my heart, Mr. Hab, I honestly want to thank you for the great insights you brought to the conversation. Mr. Hab, there is also a question I normally ask during the end of the show. From our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our forefathers' time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, what do you think that thing will be, Mr. Hart?
the capitalistic model that Adam Smith actually created was two parts. One, the invisible hand of capitalism, which is the desire to create and accumulate efficiently, uh, would drive people into an economic engine. But he wrote a second book at the same time called Moral Sentiments. And basically, the book said is that if you lack moral sentiment, which is humility and social graces to others, you end up creating massive amounts of greed, separation, those who have and those who have not. So I think we've lost a lot of our humility as a global organization or world. Um, we've we think power is the accumulation of money, but as it's David Hawkins actually defined it this way. Generally speaking, most people use force to get people to comply. Power is presence. It's being present to the moment, to the people with humility, but also clarity. Clarity tells us where to go, what's the right thing to do. And I think we've lost some of that. And I know in our country right now, we're split in the US about, what is democracy? Well, if it is of the people, by the people, and for the people, like the Constitution says, then we should be enforcing that Constitution towards harmony. And we're not. We're still very divided. And it's interesting to watch because I believe down the road what will happen is something that has to shift. And we lost our identity as a country. we've identified around ideology. And when we finally decide that maybe democracy is the best thing that truly has to be practiced, and we find a way to be not only in harmony, but also with humility, we'll find the place that we really wish to be. How far away is that? I don't know. It'd be nice if it was in my lifetime, but means I'm 70, going to be 75 in October. I might not see it, but that's my hope. That's where I believe we need to go. Bring that back from the ancestors. Okay.
Definitely. We do hope it definitely comes around back. To be honest with you, Mr. Hap, humility is very, very powerful. It's a force that one cannot explain because humility doesn't bring anger, it doesn't bring hatred, it doesn't bring oppression, it brings love, it brings care, it brings community. And that is why the attribute is very, very missing in our time today. We barely see people who are humble despite even the position they find themselves, they actually carry that attribute of humility. And we definitely need to encourage everyone to actually build that source because that is the source that can make every single one of us actually build the attributes of love and also care within one another. And also, Mr. Hab, I want to use this opportunity to thank you for the time and the opportunity for us to have this profound and insightful conversation today. Thank you so much, Mr. Hab.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed talking with you, and um, maybe we can do this again.
All right. So I want to have a good day, Mr. Hab. Bye.
All right. Bye bye. Take care.